Welcome to Rapid Harmony. I'm Kyle Emmanuel Brown. This is a space for high-achieving souls who want more than outcomes. You want resonance, you want truth, you want a life that moves with purpose instead of pressure. Here, we explore success with the soul and direction with depth. We slow things down just enough to hear your own wisdom again. We breathe, we question, we remember the part of you that never needed permission to leave. Every conversation is an invitation to trust yourself more than the noise around you, and live from that clarity that rises when you stop forcing and start listening. Take a breath, settle in, let's begin. So Jake, what was the moment that you realized that the version of you that everyone admired was quietly destroying the man that you actually needed to become?
I would say it's happening right now, if I'm being honest.
Well, welcome. You're in the right place.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I have been in a relationship for about the past year or so. That's been deeply initiating, and I've grown a social media during that time that's just been massive. And yeah, this time in my life has really called me into switching some things around and deeply calling me into the man that I am meant to become, which is a father. And in the sense of being able to hold that kind of archetype of the father, of the man that, yes, can hold his son or daughter, but also the man that can hold the wife and hold the business and hold all of that. So yeah, I've had a social media in the way that I've done it, which has worked very well. And yeah, I'm stepping into creating a podcast now and really letting my voice be the transmission moving forward. And so yeah, within that as well, I'm going into 90 days of no contact with the partner that I've been with for us to be fully separate and find sovereignty. And during that time, like deeply committing to becoming the man that I know that I'm meant to be, and letting go of who I have been up until this point.
Wow. Powerful, beautiful, exciting, scary, all the things, right?
It's all of it, all at the same time. Yes.
It's great. It's great. You're going for the full soup, jumping in both feet. And what was it that really cracked you open and forced that rewrite?
The feminine. Like, yeah, having a woman in my life that is embodied and of God, and having that reflection, like really calling me forward, and having all the little boy patterns that have tried to run the show come to the surface. And yeah, it really calling me forward into this next step.
Wow. Well, most men are taught to build themselves like fortresses, right? You stack achievements, you harden up, you carry everything, and the world really praises the masks, but they forget the man who's wearing it. And eventually the old identity, and I know, man, you're going through it right now, it cracks under its own weight. And the only way forward is down, in, and through. So today I'm sitting with someone who's walked through that fire and is walking through it right now. A man who's rebuilt himself not through force, but through honesty, humility, and choosing a life that matches his soul. So Jake Whan's a spiritual guide and a breathwork facilitator who's helping people remember who they truly are, release what no longer serves, and rise into their highest expression. And as you hear, doing it through embodiment, not just through textbook. And after his own awakening, he devoted himself to walking with God and supporting others in healing their nervous systems, opening their gifts, and living from truth. His work is part of a new wave of consciousness that's rooted in integrity, devotion, and embodied presence. Let's dive in. I think anyone hearing your background is like, yeah, of course they become friends.
Absolutely.
And we both have dropped into the, what I like to call the expert level of the video game of life. It's definitely a little bit different of a path than just sitting and meditating in cave, but really like, I want to play full out. And what's pulled you in? You say the father archetype. Was that something, did you have a close relationship with your father? Were you guided by divine masculine, or is it something that you said, hey, I didn't have this and I want to step into it?
Yeah. The relationship I have with my father has been one where I wouldn't say it's extremely deep. We have moments where we're able to connect deeper. But yeah, I didn't really grow up with like a divine masculine in my life. Like my dad was there to support me in sports, and like I have a very deep love for him, and I know he loves me, and there's a level of depth that we can go. And so yeah, really what has guided me, it has been a divine masculine presence. In the past couple of years, it's been a deep connection with Yeshua and like his actual teachings. And that's been in my awareness for the past 2 or 3 years. And then I started to have this deep connection with my future son, feeling him come into my awareness in a lot of breathwork journeys and a lot of somatic practices, and something that now I can just feel in my field at all times. I feel my son and my daughter in my field. They're just here, like waiting for, I think really what they're doing is just watching me and watching the time that I really step into that archetype for them to come here. And so right now I'm taking the action steps to like come to the place where they're like, okay, dad's there, I'm ready. And so yeah, I'm doing the work now to really step into that.
I love that. And as a father of 2 right now, it's a very powerful place to sit. It is an absolute spiritual practice and connection and levels beyond words, and one that a lot of people who are on a path get stuck in that me consciousness, the basis of like, oh my God, I'm realizing my connection to the divine, and I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, and everybody else is a sheep. I call that like spiritual teenager.
Yeah.
And they get to this point of I got to put myself first above all. And you're coming at it quickly from an energy that is, I get to hold space for others and bring life through me. That's a powerful place to be, especially when you're in a place of transitioning for partnership. What does that feel like in the day to day?
It feels like a deep calling, and it feels like a deep letting go and trust that is happening. And with that, there are moments of grief and overwhelm and sadness. It feels like a death.
Yeah.
That is happening. There's moments of like deep clarity and like that deep connection to God, and like I know that I'm on this path, and then there's moments of just grief and pain and suffering, and it's all a part of it.
Yeah, it is a death of sorts. It's a death of the old version of you, and most people aren't willing to handle that. One of my favorite quotes is, Edison's or Jefferson's. Most people die at 25 and aren't buried till 75. And I always say, the worst thing you could say to someone at a 10-year or 20-year high school reunion is, you haven't changed one bit. And our labels and our identities, and changing those is such a powerful practice. So, another quote that I like to say is that no one writes their autobiography in the middle of the shitstorm. But I think in your case, it's not a shitstorm. It's a stepping in, leveling up, and saying, let's freaking go. In the middle of it all, and embracing all the emotions. As you're in the middle of all that and going through that transition, you mentioned something really interesting, which was, you said breathwork journey. Now, I think a lot of people don't understand breathwork at all, the power of the breath, and the fact that it is a journey, let alone anything about DMT with breath work. And I would love to hear a little bit about your experience with that and your awareness, and maybe give people a little bit of insight about how you can release DMT through the breath.
Yeah. Yeah. With breath, like there's the physical aspect of it and the science-based aspect where there's so much that happens within the body while you're doing it. And then there's this deep metaphysical divine nature to it that like, I don't think our human minds can truly comprehend. And so, yeah, when you go into breath, there is the DMT release that happens in the body. And so the repetitive pattern of breath allows you to get out of the mind and go within the body. And DMT is this thing that we can explain with science, but we truly can't comprehend like the power that DMT holds. It's direct connection to the divine. And so it allows us to, the breath stimulates that DMT in the body because we hold it the most in our lungs.
Yes.
And so we're stimulating that and producing that, which allows for us to get into the nervous system and the body and get out of the mind and clear emotions, clear traumas, which opens up our channel, which is so powerful and has allowed me to tap into spiritual abilities and remember my spiritual nature so much more. And yeah, for me, breath is something that connects me directly to God. Like God is in all things, and all things have a breath. Like when I have had really profound psychedelic experiences, like being able to see how everything is breathing, seeing how the leaves and the trees and everything is breathing, like everything has this like expand and contract to it, and everything breathes. And so when we breathe, we connect to the divine, we connect to all that is. And so, yeah, breath has been like the number one thing that's allowed me and many others that I work with connect with God.
I love that. I love that. And to me, the label is less important than the awareness. So if somebody uses the quantum field, the universe, source, God, fill in the blank as whatever their, the force, if they're a Star Wars fan, no matter what label you're using, it's the awareness of the interconnectedness of all that, to me, is the most important piece. And it's so interesting you said that everything breathes. I did a vision quest as part of a shamanic initiation, and I'm out there and I like to say, well, when people are like, how long were you out there? And I say 4 months. Like 4 months, you had 4 months. I'm like, no, 4 days, because you lose sense of time and space. In this case, each day felt like a full month to me. So I felt like I was away from my earthbound experience for 4 months. And I knew conceptually, I am them and they are us, meaning I am that tree is me. But I didn't know it experientially. And it's really fascinating you say about the everything breathes, because that's when I started to really get it, when I slowed down enough to start seeing that and feeling that and sensing all of those trees actually breathing around you. How did you come about this awareness? Was it from taking breathwork classes? Where in your journey did you say, okay, I'm starting to tap in and understand this interconnectedness? What was that moment for you?
Yeah, I got into breath when I was going through the hardest time in my life of depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, an autoimmune condition. And I had a life coach that directed me towards breathwork. And then I had a breathwork mentor, and I started doing his breathwork tracks every single day. And so I would wake up and I would do that. And yeah, I started to really have profound experiences. The one that really catalyzed me on this path is going to his home, doing a like 75-minute breathwork journey that he would do in his house.
Wow.
And I saw myself as a child in the corner of a room crying. And that set me on this path of like, oh, all these things that I'm experiencing within myself, like they come from him and he lives inside of me. And yeah, that really set me on this path.
Wow. So when you saw that version of you, the inner child, was it a memory? Like, were you tapped into a memory of remembering when you were in that corner, or was it more just the essence?
It was more the essence.
Yeah.
Like that little boy is living inside of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where these traumas and wounds and everything that's happening to me physically is coming from.
I love it. Every morning when I'm doing different shamanic rituals, one thing I'm asking when working with water is the activation of gifts. And I find a lot of our gifts aren't always the gifts that we're asking for. And one of the things that's been really interesting that I don't really share much is that usually when I see somebody, I see the little kid. And that's pretty new. It's maybe in the last 4 to 5 years, but it's like I'll hop on a Zoom or I'll hop on a call or meet somebody face to face. And it's like the adult is there sort of as the shell, but it's like I'm just seeing the little kid inside of them. And you can also tell, like, are they acting from ego and wound when they're introducing and hype, or are they showing you their full authentic self? And I think for me, when we get out of our head and into our heart, we can tap in and just start connecting to the little kid in each other. Is that something, as you've, developed that direct connection, is that something that in your being in practice that you feel like you see the authenticity when you're meeting someone?
Yeah. It's, for me, I can really feel into a person's nervous system and where they're at and where they are acting from.
Right.
It's like this awareness that carries with me.
Cool.
So I can feel the energies when I'm interacting with someone and like what place they are coming from. So yeah.
Well, I love that you have that, and you don't say, and I've healed it all and I'm totally perfect and everything is great for me, and I just walk around like a big jumping gummy bear all day long.
Yeah, no.
You're like, I'm in the goo, but I still have this awareness.
Yeah.
And having the awareness doesn't fix all my problems, but it still keeps me real and human. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a part of this experience, and like, yeah, I'm not here to play it lightly. Right. Like if I'm in that that state that you were talking about, like I'm bypassing.
Right.
And so I'm meant to be here in this experience fully, and God, source, whatever you want to call it, is experienced in the full spectrum of the human life.
Right.
Yeah.
So another point that you got at, which I think is an interesting little alley to explore, is direct contact. On a religious side, through most religions, it's extremely frowned upon. You can only have direct contact with source, the divine, God, if you've gone to a special school and gotten a special promotion and a special this, and you need to do it there, because if you do have that direct contact, you are now practicing witchcraft and you're evil and you're the devil. And then in certain cultures and indigenous cultures, everything is divine and you're tapped in and having your own natural experience. Did you grow up in a way where you were told, hey, I need to go through a conduit? Or how was childhood for you with that?
I grew up in a space where I had gone to church a lot as a child, like Sunday school, all that. It was a Catholic church that I went to as a child. And so I did grow up around that. I wasn't heavily influenced by religion growing up. It's more so been something that as I've gone through my awakening experience, I've noticed just those religious doctrines that are running so many people. And that's kind of what has gotten me into seeing that full spectrum more of the religion and of that, like, you have to follow this way. I grew up in Rhode Island, and so it was very small town focused, like this is the way. And so I did grow up around that, and I ultimately had to leave that and go on my own path.
Right. Interesting. My hometown's where they filmed the movie Groundhog Day. So there were about 18,000 people, and everybody was pretty much like that. And I wasn't. And I just didn't grow up that way, and I struggled with it quite a bit with the self-awareness and self-reliance. And a lot of people think about, hey, if I knew then what I know now, it would be amazing, right?
Mm.
The more somebody gets on an awakened path. And I was like, no, it would actually be freaking miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that from observing my daughter. My
Mm.
daughter's 14 and she's wide awake.
Mm.
And she's totally miserable in the middle school experience.
Yeah.
When was it when you were going through that path and you started to say, hey, this doesn't feel congruent for me? When was that for you? Do you have like a moment of like, aha, like when did your awakening happen?
As I was going through middle school and high school, I always felt a sense of being different.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't fit in, although I tried my best to. And so I started to see things in a different way, like in middle school and high school. My true awakening started to happen towards the end of college, I would say. That's when I really started to recognize like this path that's been laid out for me is not what I want. I played football for 18 years, so I thought my path was the NFL, and that's what I was dedicated to. And then towards the end of college, I recognized, okay, that's not going to happen. And then around that 21, 22 is where I started to say, okay, this path is not the one that I want to live.
And so where were you playing and what position were you playing?
I played 2 years at University of Rhode Island and 2 years at Endicott College.
Okay.
I played corner at URI and I played wide receiver at Endicott.
Interesting. So along that journey, where have you seen similarities between the journey of sports and the ascension journey?
Yeah. Football, it taught me a lot. And the similarities that I see is like, kind of you go through this path of thinking kind of in a way I would say of like spiritual ego in a way that I was living in, of like, I'm going to be in the NFL, I'm going to make this money, this is my path. And then you kind of have that moment of like, oh shit, that's not what is going to happen for me. Right. And so, yeah, on the ascension journey as well is like for me, it was, I started playing football. I recognized I was really, really good. I thought I was going to go to the NFL. And then I recognized, oh, no, that's not going to happen. And so you kind of have this moment where, yeah, you're brought back to life in a way. Yeah. And so same with the ascension journey is like, you have that initial moment of awakening and, oh shit, I'm better than everyone. And then you're humbled.
I love it. I love it because so much of it, what people don't realize in both of those journeys is that the journey isn't a circle, it's a spiral. Yeah. And when you realize it's a spiral, the way I realized it in pro sports is I started doing fitness nutrition for celebs and pro athletes and that whole world. And the pro athletes I was working with was at the end of their career when they're finding their new identities. They're in the transition, going through the chrysalis of like, I am this person playing this sport, right? So like Jeff Garcia was NFL quarterback 18 years. I got him after. And he's coming over and he's discovering who he is at that next stage. And it was wild and exciting to observe the elimination of labels, the connection to something bigger than you, and then the stepping back in through humility to the next phase of your life. And how cool that something inside of you said, and that next phase in my life is going to be about we consciousness and ascension. And what point was it where you said, okay, I think my path is the ascension path?
It was, I had a very successful health and wellness business, and I had grown before my current Instagram page, I had grown a previous page with talking about nutrition and health. And yeah, so I had a business called Chronically Healthy, and I was doing very well with that. And then that was the time I was experiencing the anxiety, depression, and I found breath. That was the time I did Bufo, then as well. And then that shifted everything for me. And I went and did ayahuasca. I then went and got certified as a breathwork facilitator. And when I actually at the breathwork facilitator training, I said like that health and wellness business, no more. Like I'm dedicating fully to breath. Yeah, I had a deep moment of like talking about direct connection to God and felt God's hand come down and say, lead with the breath. And that's the moment that everything shifted. And I let go of the old business, started doing breath full time. And that's when I really started choosing this path.
So you've walked down the path with breath, which is another one of the gateways into the awareness, letting go of the illusion of the separation. Have you still been open and exploring along the psychedelics line? Because I know some people do, some people don't. What's that journey been like for you?
Yeah. I mean, Bufo was something that deeply impacted my life and allowed me to see the oneness of everything for really the first time. And so psychedelics have been an integral part of my journey. I would say that breath is the number one thing that has led to my transformation and walking this path. And so, yes, I do use psychedelics and I facilitate Bufo as well. But breath has been my number one. And so I use psychedelics when I feel the call.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. And breath, you can feel the call every morning. Bufo is not something that people are like, you're going to get addicted.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely haven't tried Bufo.
Yes.
If you think you're going to get addicted and want to try it the next day.
Yes. No, Bufo is something that is so beautiful. And I hold fear around it, like stepping into it. It's The
fear is reverence is what it is. It's a reverence. And the only thing that can tweak your mind in the irreverence is the convenience of, I can start a Bufo journey and 20 minutes later be done. And if I want, I could go back to work and drive home afterwards. So the convenience factor. But so for those who are listening at home who have no idea what the heck we're talking about with Bufo right now, and think it's like, maybe a football team or, like a sandwich that you get down south. Like, could you describe a little bit about what Bufo is?
Yeah, Bufo is 5-MeO-DMT. So it comes from a frog in the Sonoran Desert, toad. And it is the most powerful psychedelic that we have on our planet. And so, it is a 20 to 25 minute experience where you are guided and somewhat forced into complete surrender. And if you allow yourself to do that, like, it's direct connection with God. It is called God's molecule.
Yeah, it's such a beyond words piece. And I did my best to try to describe it, as you heard, in Total Self-Trust, the experience. And it is a hard thing to put into words, but I also think it's, so much of this isn't a fixing of being broken. It's a remembrance. And you don't, like, people are like, oh, well, you're just tripping. I'm like, not tripping. I feel like I'm tripping when I'm doing day to day. And if I turn on the news, I feel like I'm tripping. If I'm having a conversation with some people, I feel like I'm tripping. I feel the clearest, the most like I am home when I'm using a psychedelic.
Yeah.
Even with breath. And with breath, you just come back to home. And I think breath is a very hard thing to explain to people because you're doing it for free all day long and you kind of die without it.
Yeah.
What, quote unquote, sold you into breath? And again, I'm not a fan of proselytizing any religion or anything with breath. But if somebody's like, breath work, I don't fully get it, I've seen this, like, how would you put breath in that sense to words?
It gives you the ability to have a direct connection with what you are. And it allows you to feel on the deepest level and to experience the life force energy that you hold within yourself. And so it just brings you back to you. It allows you to see yourself. It allows you to see what you are. And so much of our world is trying to understand with the mind, and we can't understand things fully with the mind. It has to be known. And so the breath allows us to know ourselves. It allows us to truly be with ourselves and who we are.
Beautiful. I love that. And it's a big part of patient heal thyself, where you are coming home, and breath is incredibly powerful with that. I love that. I want to transition a little bit into the social media game and part of this dichotomy. So I have a theory. I want to hear your take on this approach. So I'm a big fan of Hermeticism. Your outer world being a reflection of your inner world, for example, which is law of correspondence, as within, so without, as above, so below. And I look at the algorithm and I look at social media so much as the mirror that a lot of us don't want to see. And you've gone down a path of building a substantial social media business. And you've also gone down the ascension path and the connection path. How have you managed the two of them? Because I know, listening, we've got a lot of high achieving, spiritual, conscious entrepreneurs who struggle so much with I know I need to do social media, but I hate it. Or I want to build this business up and I don't know how to balance social media with alignment and congruence. How has that journey been for you?
Yeah. In our day and age, the way that we spread our message is through social media. It's people's eyes are there. It is, people always have the phone in the hand and they're on their laptops. And so the Instagrams and the YouTubes is how we receive information. And so we have to be aware of that.
Right.
And for me, I know that God has a message that wants to come through me. And so the social media and creating the videos and speaking through a microphone is the way that I do that. And so for my experience with it is like, yeah, you want to be in the creation. You don't want to be in the consumption. And so with social media, and it's how you look at it. Right. And so social media for me has been one of the deepest spiritual experiences that I've gone through. It's like, it's a direct reflection of where I'm at, and it keeps me in integrity as well. And so my mission comes through Instagram. It comes through YouTube. And so if I want to leave the impact on the world that I desire to have, I need to create the videos. I need to speak to people. And I know that for myself, as I've done it more and more, it's just something that, like, as I speak more and as I share my message more information comes through me. And then I'm guided to share that. And so for me, the relationship that I have with social media is that I am sharing what God desires to flow through me. And this is the way that I do it. And as I share more, I get more information. And as I share more and I get more information, I also learn more about myself. And so that is the relationship that I've developed with it.
Beautiful. On that same note, one place a lot of people probably listening right now struggle with is finding their voice to put it in front of a microphone or to put it in front of a camera the same way that they can put it when they're in conversation with their friends. It's like this thing gets on them and they go, what are you? Why are you staring at me? Who are you?
Yeah.
Or then this thing gets in front of them and they're like, I'm so worried about what I'm going to say. And, really opening up that throat. You went from an athlete, and as a football player, this isn't really well respected except for only in a few moments. It's here, listen, spit back. We are one. We are not individuals in that sense. Was there an experience? Was it part of breath work? What was it that opened this up for you, your throat, that you felt I can hear information, channel information, and then speak that information out to the world?
Yeah. There's an aspect of this that just has always felt like a calling that I'm meant to step into. And it's been the deeper work that I've done on my nervous system. And the deeper the work that I do on my nervous system, the easier it is for me to just share.
Yeah.
Like when I'm here with you or when I'm in front of a camera, it's something that I don't even really recognize. It's like not in my awareness. It's just I'm here, I'm speaking, God's flowing through me, and I'm here to speak. And so, yeah, the more that I have felt my emotions, the more that I have seen that little boy within that's scared, that's
Mhm.
afraid, that feels unworthy, the more that I've allowed him to express and to feel, the easier that it's been to just speak.
Mm.
And there isn't much thought behind it. There isn't the fear behind it anymore. It's just I'm here to just be this channel of God, and what is meant to come through me in the space is what I'm devoted to.
Beautiful.
Mm.
I want to move this a little bit into the divine masculine container,
Mm.
male relationships, because again, serving as a bridge,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it can get a little bit tricky meeting people where they're at.
Mm.
Like I know I'm a conduit, but I also need to meet everyone where they're at and also have that human experience. So for you, what have you learned about friendships between men now that you've used to help rebuild your foundation?
Yeah, that's a good question. For myself, growing up, I never truly felt safe around men. There's always been, and I recognize this just being back home with family, being around my dad, of like this unsafety or feeling less than that I've always carried. And so for me, as I've gone on the path, yeah, my friendships before with men weren't that deep. Um, it was like sports focused, and we played football together, so we were friends. And then we would, in college, go out and drink together and things like that. And it lacked depth, and I always felt less than. And as I've gone into this work deeper, it's been having these reflections of other men that carry the same things as I do, of like that unworthiness and feeling less than. And the vulnerability has been the biggest aspect of it that has transformed my relationships with men. Like now I have men around me that I am called forward with and I feel seen by because of the level of vulnerability that we have. And we're able to meet each other in that place and not talk about sports and women and like all that anymore. I mean, we talk about women, but in a very different way than I used to.
Yes.
But now it's like, yeah, we're wanting to deepen our connections with ourselves and have those reflections from brothers. Yeah.
Now, did you have to shed and let go of a lot of friendships, a lot of the dynamics you had with like guys that you played ball with in college, or did some of them, rise and meet you where you're at now?
Yeah, I've had to let go of a lot of friendships. Like the friends that I played high school football with, I played with them since I was a kid, and like I have all the love for them. There's one from high school that like still watches all my things and like messages me, and so there's been a very select few that have risen. But yeah, I've had to, I grew up in Rhode Island, and so I let go of a lot of my friends are still there. So let go of them. The guys I played college ball with, like they're all kind of working the 9 to 5s and things like that. And so all the love for them, but I don't interact anymore. So I've had to let go of, pretty much all the relationships that I grew up with, all the ones in college. There, like, as I've gone on the path, there's been like one guy that like stays in interaction with me from these different phases of my life.
That's cool. That's cool. It's quality over quantity anyway. And people, they'll weave in and out as they get to the place of where they're at, which I think is a lot of fun. And, each day when you wake up, there's still the like, okay, this is new. I open my eyes. I need to remember I am Jake. So for you, what kind of habits or practices help you anchor in this new version of you?
It's the devotion to God and breath every morning. And so on a day like today, it's waking up and just having this routine of like waking up, grabbing a glass of water, putting my feet on the earth, seeing the sunrise, and then getting into breath. And so that's the thing that I do every single day. is I sit at the altar, light some incense and a candle, and then I just go into breath. And I say, like, God, I am here and I am devoted to you in this day. Show me deeper of who I am. And then I go into the breath, and that's when I connect. And I connect to business ideas like that. It comes through in that time. Relationship things, like it all comes there. And so, yeah, that is the thing that I've done every day for the past 4 years now, is wake up, breath. Those are the practices that I commit to. And then I also commit to a lot of somatic work. And so having, like, before this, I was with my nervous system coach. And so we're going into patterns and wounds and childhood stuff. And so I have the people in my life that, like, I go into somatic work with.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you came, though, from a fitness wellness space, right? Transitioning from football, I can see how it could make sense to say, okay, well, it's, you know, such a big part of that's the body, getting into the body that way. And you and I share that journey of expanding into more holism beyond just the body. Where is the body part involved in your day to day? Is that still part of the sacred for you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And how?
I go to a place called Apeco, which you might know about.
I've heard of it. Yeah. I haven't been yet, but I've heard of it.
That's like, that drops me deep into the body. Like, I still carry I love to get strong.
Yeah.
And so doing the pull-ups and weighted dips and things like that, that is something that will always stay with me.
Awesome.
Just dropping into the body in those ways and moving my body in different ranges of motion, like that just allows me to experience more of myself. And so, yeah, doing the strength training, doing the different movement practices, going to Muay Thai, like those are the things that I love doing, because that drops me deeper into myself, and it also connects me with my divine masculine of, like, really getting into my body, really feeling everything within me, and moving weight, like, connects me with that.
Same. It is such, you know, a lot of the divine masculine is really the creation of that sacred container. You know, I like to say, you know, it's like the firefighter's hose that has that strength to really hold the space for that divine feminine flow within us. And breath being part of that divine feminine flow within us, as well as the nutrients we put into our body in many cases. How has this path affected your nutrition? You know, coming from somebody who's studied these things, you know, I know a lot of people wrestle, and some go full, like, I am completely vegan, and then they go fully, I am carnivore. And there's almost a religion around that. How has that path been for you?
Yeah, I've explored all those paths as well, of the carnivore and the veganism and all of that. And really the path and where it's led me to is just, I want a deep connection with my food, and I want to know where it comes from. And so I'm not carnivore, vegan, or anything like that. Like, I think all nutrients can provide us vitality. And so we can get really amazing things from animal products, and we can get amazing things from the vegetables and the fruits and the grains and all that. And the main thing for me is I want to know where it comes from. I want to know, like, the intention behind the food. And so, yeah, for me, it's been, I want to get things like getting the sourdough from the local baker, like, that tells me about it, and his new grain that he's working with, like, that for me allows me to feel deeply connected to where I'm getting my nutrients from.
I love it. The label, because I always get asked, what's the label? What's your food system? You know, you spoke for the paleo community for so many years, and your label was paleo before there was a paleo community. And where I landed on was qualitarian. Like to just say, well, if you want to give me a label, I am a qualitarian. And then so much of it then is also the reverence for the food. One of the things I do a lot of times when I eat, I actually got from someone who's part of the medicine line I am, which is Bear Heart, which is I'll do the circle of life with my hand and just say thank you. It's really quick. It's kind of like Bart Simpson's rub-a-dub-dub. Thanks for the grub. Yeah, God. But even quicker. I just got to do this. I just say thank you in my head right before I eat. And I also believe within our own power that we have the ability to shift and change the energetics of our food by the energy and love and light that we put upon it, which I know for some people, it puts them past a level of like, okay, Kyle, we're following you, and end scene, we're done. You just pushed us a little bit there. Now you're, turning yourself into a superhero. And I got to this place in my journey where you can call it zero fucks given, but I got to this place in my journey where I just said, like, even if it's just creative imagination, who cares? It's fun. And I think a lot of people, when they go on this ascension path, which is really hard, they forget to have fun. Where have you been within that as far as leaning into happiness, joy, fun, playfulness, and childlike energy?
Yeah, it's been a journey for me to like tap into more fun and allowing myself to just be in joy, because the spiritual and ascension path, we can be very serious.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like music is one of those ways. And I have a couple friends in my life that like are pretty good artists that I deeply connect with. And so going and moving and dancing and having fun with my community and friends, like that's a big part of my life. And for me, it still is sports in different ways. Like I love snowboarding and I love mountain biking and I love going to the jump parks and going off jumps on my mountain bike. Like that brings me so much joy and so much fun. And so I make sure that those are parts of my life.
I love that. I think the more people who are going through hard times and think that they need to approach the solution as being super, super serious, they forget that laughter is the best medicine, and play to me is equally as good a medicine, and it's going to bring out laughter in that moment. And they can find that, and they can realize in many ways, like so much of this ascension journey, in your company's Ascension University, is embodiment, and part of embodiment is play and joy. And I love that you've incorporated that into your life and kept that. I want to get a little more granular on something people don't talk about much. And I would love to hear your opinion, because it's something that is a part of your being, which is dance, right? I remember my favorite dance in 7th grade as a shy kid was this one. I call it the wall, or you call it the spider. I would glue back to the wall, and dancing wasn't popular. And I'm 48 now. It was like, my dance was the eyes left, eyes right. Please don't make me leave here. And, I see my son now at 11, and these kids all dance and they move and they play. What brought you into that community, and how did you get that aha moment of realizing that dance is spiritual, is connection?
I remember as a kid, I would be the one that like my parents would take me to shows, and I would like get on the stage and dance. And so there's so many videos of me as a kid just dancing. And then when I got into football, I lost that.
Yeah.
And then I would say in the past, like probably 2 years, is going to the ecstatic dances and going to the music shows. And like for me, when I'm able to dance, I'm really able to feel my energy within me and like feel the divine and feel it flow through me. And because energy is meant to move, like emotions are energy in motion. And so we're not meant to be stagnant. When we move is like when we really feel ourselves, we feel the divine, we feel it flowing through us. And so, for me in like the past 2 years, it's been just like reawakening everything that I did as a kid.
Yeah.
And allowing myself to dance like that again.
Yes. I think you just hit the nail on the head, which is reawakening everything we did as a kid. And the more you tap into awareness of those who are the furthest along, if you will, it's almost a joke to even think of it that way, but those who are getting the closest to the divine, the more childlike they are, even in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. And they're playful. And I think with dance, what's really interesting is a lot of people say, well, I can't dance. I haven't learned to dance. I don't know how to dance. I don't want to look like an idiot. What would you say to somebody like that? You know, being somebody who goes to festivals and dances and has fun, was there, was that little voice in your head there for a while when you were transitioning from jock to dancing machine?
Yeah, absolutely. It is there. I mean, we develop that like voice as we grow older, of like the no fear that I used to have as a kid. Like there's all these like bricks that are now on top of that of like, oh, I need to do this right, and no, I can't look weird. And it's just when you allow yourself to let that go and you just be, like, that's where the freedom lies. And you bring yourself back to that kid-like nature that you had. Like, you weren't worried about what people thought about you when you were 5 years old. And there's something to learn in that.
Right. And one of the things that really helped me with all of this is an awareness that the people who are watching, who are criticizing on any level, there's only one question you have to ask them. Do you love yourself deeply? Guarantee the answer is no, if they're going to actually non-defensively sit back, ponder, and answer that question. And you could be the greatest rave dancer in the world, and in their perception, you're ridiculous, and maybe I'm going to videotape you and throw you up on social media because it's a lot easier than looking within. And you could be the most ridiculously awful dancer. And I think so much of that within that space is getting to the place of still being able to kind of, I don't like laugh at yourself. I like laugh with yourself. So have you found on this journey, there's places where you can tap into that sacred silly, if you will, which, you know, not my term. I heard it, been rolling with it ever since from a good friend, but like, do you feel like even in breath, like, are there moments where laughter comes out?
Absolutely. Yeah. We, as part of this human experience, like it gets to be joyful. It gets to be silly. Like we get to enjoy this experience too, because that's a part of it. Like God is in everything. And so, God is in the joy, is in the silly, is in the laughter. So I know that I have that side of myself. I get to let it come out more. The deeper I tap into myself, I'm able to bring that out more. And that is something that I love to do. Like something I'm known for is that I will always, like when I'm around people, I'll like do the thing where you like point to their shirt. And like, oh, you got something on your shirt, and then hit their nose when they look down. And I make jokes about that. And that's like a way that I invoke like laughter and joy. And that's something that is fun for me.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I try to meet people where they're at. And I also do that with my kids, the silliness of the 11-year-old. So one nice thing that I know when you do step into fatherhood, just to plant a little seed for you, that is super cool, is when we don't have kids, we say, well, if I could go back and talk to my 7-year-old self, what would I say? But when you do have awareness and then you have kids, you say, I get to go talk to my 7-year-old son every day. And I talk to my 11-year-old self, and I see me. And one of the hardest things is punishing a child for something that you did, but probably worse. And it's a really like, but at the same point, as the divine masculine, you want to show them a path of respect. And I think one of the things that we really struggle with is the difference between love and respect and the importance of respect.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a huge piece within divine masculine. So a lot of times for men, that's because of what? Guilt and shame.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, what have you forgiven in yourself that has changed your life the most in this transition?
Mm-hmm. Hmm. I've forgiven myself for all the things that I've thought that I've had to do right that I haven't. Because there is no real right way to do things. Like, I've carried within myself of this trying to be nice, trying to be kind, always do the right thing. And I've forgiven myself for when I haven't, or when I've messed up, when I've made the mistakes. Like, I've forgiven myself for, all the things that I've tried to do right and haven't done to the level of expectation that was maybe given by my parents or by my school or by the coaches. Like, just I've forgiven myself for being human.
Yeah. That's a really big one.
Yeah.
Forgiven myself for being human. So often when we start getting into right relationship with things, I think that's the hardest thing, is like, whoa, I messed up. And letting go and realizing, like, no, you actually didn't. That was a version of you that you needed to shed. And every 7 years, that you doesn't exist. Literally, forget the woo. Let's just get into the science of it. There is not one. If you went to high school with me, for example, there is not one cell in me that you knew. You don't know me.
Yeah.
Every single cell is repaired and replaced every 7 years. That's the idea of the 7-year itch and 7-year cycles. Like, we literally aren't the same being every 7 years. And I love Alan Watts's quote that says, you have no responsibility to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. So stepping into this version of Jake Whan, do you feel like on a day-to-day basis, you love and respect this version of yourself? Like, are you proud of this version of you?
Yes. Yeah. I have moments where I may not be.
Right.
I have moments where I am in the overwhelm, I'm in the grief, I'm in the overthinking. I have those moments. And when I really come back to myself and I have those moments of, like, just really able to see myself, I am proud. I am proud of the action steps that I'm taking in my life and, like, my commitment to this life, to being the man of God that I desire to be. I am proud of the steps that I'm taking towards that.
Beautiful. I'm going to hit you with some fast ones and just getting you out of your head, into your heart, and just whatever comes up, I want you just to hit me with it. Sound
Absolutely,
good?
Yeah.
Okay, this will be fun. Here we go. So what's one belief about masculinity that you've completely thrown out?
That you have to be strong, powerful, super masculine. Like, masculinity just means that you're really able to hold. You're able to, like, hold the container, contain things in a way, provide safety. And whatever way that you do that is the masculine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's a daily ritual that brings you back to center fast?
Breath.
That's a softball pitch, like a home run contest, right?
Yeah.
What's the most badass moment you've had since choosing this new path?
Having people in my community pay for others to come to our in-person events. Like, that has been so impactful to see that something that I've created has given people the opportunity to provide for others in that way.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. What's one emotion men need to stop running from?
Anger.
Expand on that one.
Mm. Men express anger in a way that isn't authentic and true. It's what we've seen from other men. There is a sacred way that we are able to express anger in a safe way, and that will actually allow us as a man to connect deeper with ourselves and like connect to our root.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Last one here for you on this little rapid.
Mm.
Who is a model of true strength for you now?
I would say little Jake.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm.
That's beautiful. We'll just drop the mic, but it's hanging, so we can't.
Yeah.
So, Jake, when the dust settles on your life and they talk about the man you've become, what do you hope they say about the way you lived, loved, and led?
I hope that they say that Jake was a man that experienced all of life. He experienced every single emotion, every feeling, and he met everything with deep reverence. There's nothing that he shied away from.
Awesome. Awesome. And the last one for you. What does harmony mean to you?
Coherence within oneself and with others. Yeah.
It's beautiful. And you can get there rapidly.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on today. This was a great way to get to drop in with you in person and catalyst for a lot of really good things to come. So I'm really happy to have you here today. And for those who are excited about your journey, who want to be follower number 8,005,000,001,001, what's the easiest way to get a hold of you through those social media conduits?
Yeah. Instagram is Jake Whan. It's WHAN. YouTube is Jake Whan, WHAN. And I have a free community called Foundations of Ascension, which is on School. And then I have my paid community, Ascension University.
I love it. I love it. Well, if you're listening at home, Jake's story is a reminder that strength isn't something we muscle our way into. It's something we remember when we stop performing and we start telling the truth. The modern man isn't built out of hardness. He's built out of presence, courage, and the willingness to feel what's real. So if something in this conversation stirred something alive in you, take a moment after this episode and sit with it. Ask yourself where you're still holding the mask and what part of you is ready to breathe again. Jake, thank you for showing up with so much heart and clarity. And everyone listening, keep choosing the path that feels true, even when it asks more of you. That's where the real power lies. Thank you. And I'll see you on next week's episode.
Thank you for having me, brother. Deep pleasure.
It's a joy. Thank you. All right, my friend, if this episode sparked something in you, don't just wander off into the abyss of the internet. Hit subscribe so you can actually get the good stuff when it drops. And if you're feeling generous or mildly enlightened, leave some love in a review. It takes just 30 seconds, and somehow it feeds the algorithm gods so they know to send more people who really need it. Now, if you want to step deeper into my world, rapidharmony.com is where the real magic lives. Coaching, community, rituals, and a few surprises that are way better than just scrolling around another motivational reel and not doing anything about it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being you. And remember, your inner harmony isn't hiding. It's just waiting for you to pay attention. I'll see you on the next episode. Now go subscribe before you forget.